everyone, welcome to another episode of Rebel Rewind. My name's Christopher. With me, as always, is this guy over here, Eric, and our special guest tonight, Pete Fletzer from the ATG cast. Pete, you want to say hello and introduce yourself in case people have been living, I don't know, on under a rock and they don't know who you are?
I'm not sure it's that hard to miss. I'm Pete Fletzer, and I'm the one of the two hosts of Around the Galaxy and ATG Live. We're a Star Wars fan talk show, kind of similar to you guys as well. We have most of our shows. We kind of got our start doing a podcast, a weekly podcast where we interview the people behind the Star Wars fandom, and we also do a live show on Thursday nights where we have guests. We do news, we do deep dives, we do what 9,500 other Star Wars YouTube streamers do, but except without being angry and mad about it and causing problems. But I am excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. Always fun to talk to new friends in the Star Wars universe and people that you've been following online for a while. It's always great to kind of put faces with names and actually have a conversation instead of trying to do it in 240 characters. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we appreciate you coming on. Like I said before we hopped on here, I've been watching your stuff for quite a while, and you mentioned the guests that you get on, and some of them are some fairly big names, some authors, some people behind the scenes and stuff there. So definitely check out Pete's channel. I'll put it in the description so you guys can check that out as well. Go subscribe to the ATG cast. I'm going to keep mixing that up.
That's right. You can just go with ATG Live. That's it's funny, when I started the show 5 years ago, Around the Galaxy was too long and there was so many different things, and now I'm afraid America's Got Talent and ATG are going to get confused. So but go with ATG Live or ATG cast on social media, or we have a network of 3 shows at the SSW network, but I'm just confusing everybody right now, so I'll let you put in whatever you want to put in. We'll go.
Awesome. But Eric, we usually we do our show on Tuesday evenings, but Eric celebrating a wedding anniversary yesterday. How many years is it for you, bud?
I kind of want to do that. I kind of wanted to do like a number kind of thing.
Oh, I guess.
Put it out there.
Okay.
Well, no. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the big number out there. 30.
Okay.
30 years.
30. Wow.
30 years.
That's incredible.
How are you you don't even look old enough to have spoken to girls 30 years ago. That's amazing. Congratulations, dude. That's wild.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations, Eric.
Thanks. We're we were young, but yeah. So
you're like 4, years. I'm guessing.
No, Eric's tapped into the dark side of the Force there. He looks youthful. Perhaps. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But let's jump into our first news article. We got something from the direct here. Let me add it to the screen here. So Star Wars announces the Acolyte Wayseeker release date following the show cancellation. So I don't know if either of you are big into the novels and stuff here, but I guess this is one of the projects that we're going to get with some Acolyte characters. So after canceling one prequel project, Star Wars just revealed the release date for another, Acolyte Wayseeker. Following a disappointing run on Disney Plus, Star Wars opted to cancel the Acolyte, Lucasfilm's first live-action High Republic series, which I'm kind of bummed about still. Set a century before The Phantom Menace. But Lucasfilm is not done with the story or the prequel storytelling just yet. So the Acolyte Wayseeker release date just got announced. So this is set in the Star Wars High Republic era, and you can see by the cover it's got Venestra Rowe and Master Indara on it. So it was first announced at San Diego Comic-Con that Lucasfilm's next High Republic novel, Acolyte Wayseeker, releases on May 6, 2025, despite the series it is based on already being canceled. So it's written by Justina Ireland. Star Wars confirmed the Acolyte Wayseeker explores Venestra Rowe's life 20 years before the events of the series. So it's a prequel book, which could be cool. And people are wondering if it'll answer questions about the Acolyte. So even though Henderson's Roe was not the star of Leslie Headland's Acolyte series. The series showcased her efforts to cover up the Jedi deaths, her concern with politics, and the fact that Manny Jacinto's Sith-like character, Chimere, was her former fallen Padawan. So it should be interesting if it touches on any of this in the Wayseeker. What are you guys' thoughts on these prequel books that they're putting out? They're going to put out, and are you hoping for some other Acolyte era stuff where we get some more stuff about Vernestra and Chimere and possibly stuff past the Acolyte? What are you guys' thoughts on this stuff?
I'll defer to you first, Eric. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, it sounds really great. It sounds like a really interesting read. And I'm thinking possibly, I'm not sure how old the Chimere is gonna be on this series. So maybe about 5 years old or something like that, because he's not maybe about 25 age around on as we seen on the Acolyte. So I'm not sure how it's going to be, but I think maybe if anything, it'll probably show him as a Padawan, but not really getting into that deep stuff about why, that separation, or what happened exactly with that split. Why he probably did something, or so. We'll see, but I think it's going to be a pretty interesting read. We're not going to get, further stories of after Acolyte, but if we get some little information tidbits on before, that's cool. 20 years before the Acolyte, right?
Yeah, it says it's at 20 years before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be interesting to see some of that stuff take.
So I'm guessing he's probably about 5 years old or something, Chimere.
Yeah, I think with the cancellation of the Acolyte, I liked the show. I liked what the show was doing. I liked where it was going. I liked what it was telling us about Star Wars. It was taking us in a different direction. I'm not a big reader of the High Republic books, transparently, but I don't dislike what I know and what I've read at all. And in fact, I was excited to see where the series was going. It felt like a really unique place to go. But I'm not at all surprised that the plans are now to continue telling this story in books and comics and that sort of thing. And it's unfortunate, right? And the ugly truth of it is it just didn't appeal to the broader base of Star Wars fans. And it's funny because we talk a lot about people say, oh, we've got to move beyond the Skywalker saga. And we want to know more about the Star Wars galaxy. But the reality is, unfortunately, the numbers didn't show it. And so on the other side of that coin, though, I am so happy that the people who love the show, the people who want more, are going to get it through things like the Kilnaka comic book and this book, and I'm sure there'll be other novels. And Justine Ireland is a fantastic choice to write this. She's done so many really great things. And yeah, I hope we do get to understand that story just a little bit more. I'd love to see some insight into what happened with Master and with Vernestra Rowe and Chimere. They almost have to touch on it, even if the book just sort of ends with a connection to him as her Padawan or something, just to kind of leave that dangling. Let's get some more info on that.
Yeah, and see some more of Master Indara would be cool, because we got that little tease in the Acolyte where she fought May at the beginning and died, and then we got the flashback stuff. So should be cool to get some more of her character as well.
If you look at the comic book art, she looks a lot younger than she did on the show. So.
That's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Not Vernestra, but Indara.
Yeah, Indara. Yeah, they did make her look a little younger there too.
Yeah.
So yeah. We got Jordan in the chat. Hello there. Hey Jordan, thanks for hopping in the chat.
Jordan.
Pete also playing double duty in the chat as well. Yeah. Angel says Disney making millions on their merchandise. They don't care for the quality. I mean, that's a certain point of view, I guess. I've enjoyed the Disney stuff. Was it all top tier stuff? No, but I mean, it's still enjoyable in my opinion. So
the way I described it, I'd love to hear what you guys think. It felt like a textbook to me, in that they were telling what happened versus, they were sort of just throwing it all out there. And my only complaint, and I mean, you guys know, because you check out our content, we're super, I don't want to say overly positive, but we're realistic about things, right? We enjoy what we enjoy, and we're real about it. And I loved what this story was trying to do. I felt like it fumbled a little bit out of the gate in the way it told some of the story. But the story is worth telling, and the story is worth pursuing. And, we have so much. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but clearly to me, there's a Knights of Ren connection there with the way Kymir looked. And so let's
and the
bring
music as well.
The music, right? Kylo's theme playing multiple times. Let's get more of it. And hey, this was a risk, and I'll tell you where I'd love to see it. And a lot of people have given me a little bit of a hard time about it because of what it might imply. But give me season 2 as an 18 episode animated show. Let's bring it to life that way. And because it's less of a financial impact, it allows them to stretch the story out. Because I think that's what I felt about the Acolyte, was it felt a little rushed at times to me. It felt like they were rushing to fit it into the amount of time they had, and give it some time to breathe. And let's do it with a really cool animation style, and give me these characters. I want more from these characters for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's too bad that they didn't make the choice to do one Star Wars television show a year before they did the Acolyte, because we would have got like a 12 episode season like Andor, where you had the episodes to tell the stories that they wanted to, but like I think given a second season, because like not all shows do fantastic on their first season, a lot of them kind of come back for a second season later, and they just blow up, they explode, right? Like so I think that could have been the Acolyte. I think Eric and I were talking about possibly even like a Tales of the Jedi, where they focus on maybe Kymir or something, or Vernestra would be kind of cool.
I would love that.
That's what I was going to go with. That do like animation form, just like you were saying, Pete.
Yep, I would love that. Yep. Gimme.
Yeah. JT Lovecraft says, "Yo, hey JT, thanks for hopping in the chat." Yeah, so that either way, it should be interesting to get those stories, though. So
yeah.
So let me start off my first story for today. So I know Star Wars Theory touched upon this same story. Sometime today. Yeah. So Disney just do Star Wars Clone Wars in live action with Ewan and Hayden. All right, so I kind of like snip out a little bit because the story is a little on the long side, but it says that it's clear that best friends Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are itching to come back to Star Wars. I don't think that this is the writer's opinion, about making more stories that take place after Obi-Wan Kenobi series and before New Hope is a good idea. Obi-Wan was fine, but not amazing. So just do a live action Clone Wars. Just let them do it. This feels like this is where everything is leading to anyway, with Dave Filoni porting as many characters from that and Rebels as he can into live action. So this seems like a potentially good project. There's certainly a great number of memorable arcs that can be adapted for TV, and there's a reason that Star Wars loves this show, because it's good. We have our young Ahsoka, Tamora Morrison, since he's not doing the book of Boba Fett season 2, to play Rex and other clones. Ewan and Hayden back with a young Ahsoka, recreating some of the most beloved arcs in Star Wars. Just let them do it. So yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with this guy. Let's let them do it. I think that would be just incredible if we were to get some story arcs, maybe just a few good story arcs. Maybe which one was that? Not the right Jedi arc with the Ahsoka. But yeah, some amazing story arc would be awesome if we just get in live action. So.
Yeah. Yes. So like, because I actually watched Theory's video on this, and like I don't always agree with him, but with what he said about doing this as well, like he agrees with this guy.
Yeah,
like, he agreed with him that they should just do it. And like why not do like a different perspective of some of the story arcs that we got in the Clone Wars, or like not maybe not like a full series, but you could do like a Tales of the Jedi, but like make it live action and do like some Clone Wars arcs and stuff, and bring back Hayden and Ewan, because they clearly want to come back. They're always expressing how they would love to come back to Star Wars and stuff. I mean, we've got to be seeing Hayden in Ahsoka season 2 anyways, but Ewan wants to come back as well. So it'd be great to see the two of them together in live action again, whether it be some sort of, like I said, Tales of the Jedi, but like live action series, whatever they want to come up with, like a few short episodes based on the Clone Wars or whatever. Pete, what do you think about this? Do you think they should go ahead and do this? Kind of give the fans what they want?
Yeah. You know, I am never a fan of fan service. It's one of the reasons why I feel like the Rise of Skywalker was my 11th favorite Star Wars film. I feel like they didn't take the right approach on that. I loved the flashback scenes in Ahsoka. I thought, obviously, I think most of us feel like that was the highlight of what was a really good series, top to bottom. Yep. Top to almost bottom. I think they missed the landing a little bit, but that's another conversation for another time. But I think overall, I thought that was so well done. I thought the I can't think of her name. The girl who plays the young actress who played Ahsoka was Greenblatt, right?
Greenblatt,
yeah. She captured a young Rosario Dawson. It was perfect. She was great in that role. They invested in the de-aging for Hayden, so it didn't look like Kenobi as much. You know, they put him in the right costume. He looked like he came straight off the animated version. I thought it was great. I think if they're going to do it, they got to be really, really careful. And I think I like what you're saying about maybe a different perspective on an existing arc, or maybe a completely different Clone Wars story, something from that time frame. And I do feel like, you know, it's the reality is, people don't watch animation. We watch animation because we're Star Wars nerds. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. We're talking about Star Wars 24/7. But animation, so the people who watched Ahsoka had no, like, we were like standing on our feet and screaming and pointing and doing the, you know, the the scene from
the Leo DiCaprio,
the Leo, right?
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. So if there's a way to bring people into that, I do worry though that it's a little bit too fan servicey. But you know what? Honestly, I think one of the things for Star Wars right now is, you know, and I even posted a video about, you know, what does Disney need to do to recapture this magic? I think they might have to do some fan service, and I think done right. And you know, obviously the three of us here, we're not in those meeting rooms. We don't know what's going on, but to do it right, it needs to be probably a new story. Although I would love to see an Obi-Wan season 2 that ends with Maul versus Obi-Wan from Rebels. I would love to see that happen. But yeah, give me a different story. And I think it would work. I mean, it was so cool to see Rex's armor in live action. Holy cow. Like Rex is my favorite, you know, Clone Wars era character, and Ahsoka, but to see them together was great. So I think it's risky. But yeah, let's do it. It kills me to agree with Star Wars Theory on something, but it does. I do think I would love to see it.
Yeah. So I don't mind the fan servicey stuff, because like watching The Rise of Skywalker, like it wasn't my favorite of the sequels,
right?
But I got giddy like when I heard all those voices and stuff, and all that. I mean, again, like a discussion for another time. I think they went wrong with trying to course correct and trying to please everyone with that movie, but no, I enjoyed the fan service stuff. But, I think you're right. I think that's what Star Wars does need to pull people back in, like give them familiar stuff, give them Skywalker stuff again, because even though, like you said, they want to get away from it, but they don't like all this new stuff that is not Star Wars to them or whatever,
And
right? So
as James Bainey said, who used to be on the Resistance broadcast, he left not too long ago. He used to say, fan service isn't bad because I'm a fan. And you know what? That's right. So,
yeah,
but but I would not want to see them redo the existing stuff because it feels like it displaces what was done so well in the Clone Wars. But we all know there's so many years of Clone Wars that happened, and so many things happened. You know, when we were following, Yoda on some adventure during Clone Wars, what was Anakin and Ahsoka doing, and what was Obi-Wan doing? Let's go see what was happening over there. So, Eric, I like your concept of maybe some of those arcs, but from a different side of the room.
Stories.
Yeah,
So,
yep,
yeah. So maybe some stuff that Dave Filoni never put out, and he'll use that for.
yep.
Yeah. And we know Natalie Portman would like to come back. So perfect way to bring her back.
How great would that be? Yep.
Right?
The de-aging budget would be through the roof, but
whole 180 million spent on the de-aging.
Right. Right.
Podcast of the Wills in the chat says, cheers, space friends. Hey, podcast of the Wills. Also says, hola, amigos. Eric says the Zillow Beast.
Right? Zillow gang in the house. Yep.
Yeah. Patrick Poptography says, I agree with you, Pete. There are young adults books that you could adapt to have Anakin and Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Yep. But let's use Ariana Greenblatt while we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Love a series on young Mace Windu, a horror style film with Vader chasing down rebels, or Maul's beginning under Palpatine's training. Yeah, they got lots of options. Yeah, for sure. So let's jump into the next story here. So this one's from comicbookmovie.com. And this one, Eric and I reported last week that Disney company was going to sue Disney, but I guess they're actually going through with it. They're taking them to trial now. So Disney is going to full trial for using Peter Cushing's likeness in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So a legal battle has begun, or has been brewing for years, and is now going to trial with a high court in London, ruling that Tyburn Film Productions can proceed with their lawsuit against Disney / Lucasfilm for using the late Peter Cushing's likeness in 2016's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So the Gareth Edwards directed movie, which went on to gross over $1 billion worldwide, featured the return of A New Hope's villainous Grand Moff Tarkin with industrial light and magic's advanced computer-generated technology used to resurrect the legendary actor for several scenes. So I guess in 2019, Tyburn Film Productions, which is run by one of Cushing's oldest friends, Kevin Francis, claimed the company had entered into an agreement with the actor prior to his death, which would prevent reproduction of his likeness through several effects without their consent. Disney has attempted to get the bid thrown out several times, but a judge has now ruled that the case will go to trial. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Because this is what, over a decade, or almost a decade after the movie came out. Like, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, it feels like it took them way too long to figure out where they were going to go with this lawsuit. And I think the only reason Disney is going to trial with it is because their lawyers have looked at the case and are like, oh yeah, we got this one.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge, like, for example, I mean, this came out, the story first hit right around James Earl Jones passing away. And how do we feel about, AI voicing Vader with James Earl Jones? And again, let's take out the permission for a second, because that's, of course, very important and critical, right? If you're even going to consider it, that permission needs to be there. But I don't know. I felt like it worked. And if they had the permission to do it, go ahead and do it. Because these characters have become so timeless, and with the technology there, go ahead and do it. But again, it just feels like this lawsuit is so old, and so like somebody at Tyburn was like digging through files one day, was like, oh, did you see this thing we signed with Peter Cushing, before he died? And they're like, oh, hey, let's go sue Disney. I don't know. It feels like kind of out of left field to me.
Yeah, yeah. It seems weird, but like maybe Tyburn is hard up for some money. Maybe they're they're like, let's try and sue Disney. Let's get some money out of it.
But what's interesting is like, okay, you can have the animation form that represents the same character, but you can't have an animated character because it's not a live action. Actually, you're using
that is a
face
great
rendering
point.
and all that. So basically, it's just another version of just an animated character. So I don't see what the problem is. If they had the okay to, utilize his character in Clone Wars, I don't see why they would have a problem with or issue with it. I think, like you said, it's all about money, but I think it's just another form of animation.
Eric, that is a really great point. I never thought of it that way, but you're 100% right. I mean, Tarkin doesn't look like Tarkin directly in Rebels and Clone Wars, but it's him, and this is another animated version. That is a great way to look at it. It's a Jar Jar Binks version of Grand Moff Tarkin, which I'm sure is not a great way to put it, but it's kind of this. It's the same concept. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about it that way either. And you do make a great point, Eric, because it's not like they took existing footage of Peter Cushing and retouched it and whatever and put existing footage in there of him saying lines from like outtakes from A New Hope or whatever to make lines, but they actually did the computer generated stuff and they got a different actor to say all the lines and stuff. So no, that's a really excellent point.
Yeah,
Patrick said Disney better call Saul. Yeah, that's a really good point. But yeah, it's like why after this long? I don't think they're gonna get any money out of Disney. Disney's probably like, let's just get this done. Let's deal with it now.
The thing people forget about suing a big corporation like Disney or Microsoft or Amazon is they have lawyers on the payroll. So it literally costs them nothing additional to do this. Whereas Tyburn has to hire lawyers because I'm sure they don't have a full law staff, and Disney probably just figures we'll drag it out. We'll make it work for us. We have a strong enough case, and and we'll just get it done. It'll be over. Yep.
Yeah.
So on to my following story, Hidden Path. So we're going to scroll all the way down to where it talks about the section because it's a very long story. So the Hidden Path would be a great way of setting up more Order 66 survivors. Obi-Wan Kenobi season 1 revealed the names of other Jedi who had survived the Order 66 massacre, most notably Quinlan Vos, whom Obi-Wan has worked with during the Clone Wars era. Specifically, Obi-Wan found Vos's name on the wall in one of the rebels' hiding bunkers, suggesting that Vos was part of the Hidden Path. The Hidden Path referring to the underground network that protects surviving Jedis and other Force-sensitive people hiding from the Empire. So having Obi-Wan Kenobi reconnect with Quinlan Vos and other surviving Jedis would help with the Hidden Path. Would be a perfect role for Obi-Wan Season 2, Kenobi. After all, Season 1 already proved that some Jedis were seeking Obi-Wan out specifically, which makes sense given the message was left behind following Order 66. So Obi-Wan still has 10 more years before A New Hope, which would give him plenty of time to play with some sort of role in the rebellion and protect the Jedi without leaving Tatooine again. I think that was a very interesting read. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, logical sense if they were to do that. Let him try to work with the Hidden Path or be someone who's trying to help other Jedis out during that time. So if they were to do a season 2, I think that would be pretty logical if they were to add that little plot in there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that even challenged me with the Kenobi series from the first point was I think I brought too much of my own baggage into it, thinking that Obi-Wan Kenobi basically spent 19 years in the desert just sitting on a hill watching Luke Skywalker, making sure nothing happened to him. So now that we see that he was re-inspired to pursue his Jedi-ness, if you will, and understanding the path, I think that would be cool because tie it into the story so that again, he knows that one day he's going to have to train Luke, and if there's other Jedi out there for Luke, maybe that's his inspiration, his motivation to go and do this. And yeah, look for Quinlan Voss, and let's like Jason Momoa can play Quinlan Voss, right? Just put a green stripe across his nose, and we might have something there. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, I would love to see that, and maybe then pursue other pieces of the path, and run into Cal Kestis. That would be cool too.
Yeah, I agree, because not only the Kenobi series, but other Star Wars content has kind of hinted towards the path. Like there was that Star Wars Visions episode where the girl escaped into the pool of water. Like I think it was like an Indian themed studio that did that episode. It seemed like she was kind of escaping to join the path. It seemed like, and there's been other stuff like the end of the Bad Batch season 3 where Omega goes off and she wants to make a difference. She could be doing that, so it could be a neat way to bring some of these other characters into live action. And like you said, Pete, like bring in Cal Kestis because he's around at this time. Everyone was like, "Oh, the timing is perfect." They're releasing what did they release? Jedi, the second Jedi Survivor, was it that they released just after Kenobi? And they're like, "Oh, the time frame and everything," and people were speculating that he was going to show up. So it kind of makes sense for them to go this direction if they do a Kenobi season 2. And then again, like they can bring in Hayden in some flashbacks and, just do the de-aging a little bit better if you're going to do a second season. And then, like Pete said earlier, finish it off with that Maul versus Kenobi at the end of season 2, or maybe even a season 3 if they do season 3.
So what about let's write it right here, because what if Maul, as part of his pursuit of, he was looking for the Sith holocron, he's trying to figure things out, maybe he's also pursuing the path. He knows that there's Jedi that are still out there, and he's trying to find them so he can find Kenobi, and so they're sort of leading themselves to each other. I think that would be wild. And then you can also conceivably, we've been introduced, the broader fan base has been introduced to the Night Sisters, so Marin can be in there. You can maybe kind of understand where the Night Sisters sit in the story at that point. Yeah, I would love to see that kind of connection. And wow. See, now that would be a Kenobi season 2 that I could get behind and have them, sort of barreling down the same path toward each other. And Maul ends up having to go to, what was it, Malachor, right? Is that where he was?
Yeah.
He ends up there, and Kenobi ends up back on Tatooine, and sort of maybe he's given up, and then Maul comes and finally finds him after what we'll know, because we've watched all the animation, dealing with Ezra and learning from Ezra, and then together they hit. That would be very cool. All right, let's go do it. Disney, if you're listening, you can go ahead and do that. We won't take anything. We're fine.
Yeah. Well, we'll be happy to watch it.
Yeah,
Patrick
we're
says,
there.
I think as contracts with the actors moving forward for future projects, they'll now have clauses to use likeness voice for sure. For future. Yeah, but I think James signed something to say that they could use his voice, right?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Patrick said that episode of Visions with the young girl with the Force powers was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed Star Wars Visions. Like I know a lot of it's not really canon, but they could be like side stories that happen during the main story, right? So
yeah, and they're all thought provoking, and they make you look at Star Wars a little bit differently, even if it's not canon.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think of it. I mean, my favorite one was, I can't remember the names of them because I enjoyed season 2 better. But what was the one with the it doesn't matter. I can't remember the name, but it was the one where the girl at the end decides to go with the Sith, and it just was like, that was the one with the cave and the.
Oh yeah.
That was my favorite one. I really like that one a lot. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I hope we get a Vision season 3. Actually, I'm surprised
I would bet
we
we will.
gotten one already.
I would bet we will.
All right, so moving on to my next story here, some Lando news, some more Lando news. It's been they've been talking about it for a long time, but now I guess Donald Glover has spoken out recently. He wants to bring the fun back to Star Wars with his Lando movie. So Lando actor Donald Glover spoke about his plans for the Star Wars movie Lando in a recent interview indicating he hopes the movie will bring Star Wars movies and TV shows. Lando is one of several upcoming Star Wars movies, which stands. It's still, I guess, it's on the docket. Still, it hasn't been canceled officially or anything like that. But it keeps changing from a series to a movie to a series to a movie. But in an interview posted by WSJ Style on YouTube, Donald Glover shared his plans for the Lando movie, specifically indicating that he wants the project to bring some newfound fun into Star Wars. In particular, Glover said, "I just want it to be fun. Like, as a Star Wars fan myself, like, I think it's important that there just needs to be more fun being had. It's very hard to have fun right now," is what he said. While it seems Glover was speaking more broadly about the current state of the world, it's also true when looking at Star Wars in particular. Star Wars is meant to be a joyful, fun-filled franchise, yet in recent years, the franchise has experienced profound negativity, especially with the Accolade. After the Accolade, a lot of people are a little more negative about
I don't
that,
think the
but
franchise has been negative. I think the certain portion of the fan base has been painfully
yeah,
negative. Yeah.
yeah, it's a fan base, not the franchise itself. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess Glover's comments about how difficult it is to have fun right now likely referred to a larger societal context. However, it rings true in Star Wars in the fan base, not really the franchise, but as the Acolytes cancellation made it clear, there's a considerable amount of divisiveness in the fan base. So yeah, hopefully he can get this Lando movie brought to the big screen, and I think that's what we need. We need more fun in Star Wars. Or maybe the fan base just needs to be a little less serious, I guess, maybe.
I don't know. I think that Star Wars is I think you're right. To me, what I've felt is we do need to get back to movies. I think we need to get back
Yes.
to the theaters for Star Wars. And it's funny because when Mando season 1 and 2 were going, I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe Star Wars can be told on the small screen. And I think the last handful of series have proven that it's a skill set that I'm not sure all of the creators have. And I'm not saying that they were bad at all, because I've enjoyed every single one of them. But we need that major motion picture thing again for Star Wars. So
No doubt.
Yeah. Eric, what do you think?
No, I'm ready for some fun Star Wars. So yeah, he's ready to bring it. So I'm ready. But yeah, so Skeleton Crew is going to be, looks like it's going to be a fun show too. So
yeah,
I'm ready for that too. So anything fun, I'm down for. So we're getting that pretty soon, and so we can make a good, compelling story. I'm down for this.
Yeah.
I mean, how does, in your guys' opinion, how does Star Wars move into that again? How do they move out of? I mean, because look, Skeleton Crew is based is a story with kids in it. It's based on sort of that concept, the older kind of Spielberg type of film, but we know people are going to attack it, as disgusting and painful as that is to think. I mean, I talked to my 11-year-old son, and he's super excited. He's like, oh, I can't wait for Skeleton Crew. That's going to be fun. But there's going to be people beating it up. And how does Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney handle that?
Yeah. I mean, that's tough, right? Because I think there's always been people who haven't been happy with it. Like even with the prequels when they came out, there were a bunch of fans that didn't like it. I think
Sure.
Now that we have access to the internet and a keyboard in front of us, I think that's what's making it seem like there's a lot more. But I think it's just always been there, and I think I don't know. I don't think there's too much they can really do about it. But they do need to get back to the big screen to tell some of these stories, and then that with the only doing maybe one episode or one series a year, that gives them a little bigger budget for some of these series as well, and tell some better thought out stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully with both those directions, going back to theaters and some longer series, hopefully we get some better stories, and hopefully that'll please some more more of the negative fans, hopefully.
Yeah, the theaters will make it a broader thing, I think, right? So
Yeah, I think so.
I think also key is also streamline. So sometimes it's good to streamline. If you got too much things going on.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
keep it simple. One series per year and a movie.
Agreed.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think my third story for the evening is here we go. Hayden Christensen. Okay, yes. Hayden Christensen honored Ewan McGregor at Hollywood Walk of Fame Stars ceremony. Ewan McGregor's star at the Hollywood Hall of Fame was unveiled during a ceremony September 12th, in which the Star Wars actor co-star, and decade-long friend Hayden Christensen spoke about Ewan, saying, "My friend Ewan, I want to thank you for being the best Jedi Master anyone could ever have hoped for, and always had my back. I thank you for that. I'm just happy that I get to be here with you right now. It's been an honor and a thrill to work with you and swing a lightsaber with you. And more than anything, call you friend. I love you, brother." So the both actors have spoken candidly about the past growing apart after they wrapped up Revenge of the Sith, partly due to the negative reaction from the fans of those movies. But time heals all wounds, and they finally reunite during the pandemic in mid-2020 when Lucasfilm decided to include Vader in the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So if you want to catch the full video, we'll have it down there in the bottom of the links, and you can find the article with in our description. And it's pretty. I watched it the other night, and it's pretty cool. You can just that bond.
You can see that love. You can see the love that they have, the love and admiration they have for each other, and both of them clearly love Star Wars as well, like just as much as they admire and love each other. So it would be great if they were able to come back to Star Wars. But yeah, it's I'm reading this article. I was reading this article and how it mentioned the negative reaction to the prequels too. Like time healed all wounds. So
right.
What do you guys think of? Like, do you think that holds true for stuff like the Acolyte? You think eventually people will come around and they'll be like, you know what, maybe we'd like a second season. Maybe they'll eventually do a second season down the road, because it hasn't been unheard of. They come back and brought back a series after enough fans started rewatching series on streaming, right? And they saw the numbers go up on streaming. So do you think time will heal the wounds of the Acolyte and they'll eventually bring a second season, like maybe 5-10 years from now?
I'm about to say, Chris, unfortunately, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
As much as many would love that, I don't think that's going to happen.
As much as Manny would love that as well. I think, yeah, having lived through the prequels, it was a different time, and there was a whole generation of fans that grew up with the prequels and loved the prequels, and I admit, and I've said it 100 times before, like when I walked out of the Phantom Menace at the New York City premiere, I remember looking around and nobody knew what we saw, and it took people a while. I mean, we lived through this whole era of George Lucas ruined my childhood kind of thing, and so yeah, I think the sequels, I think the Rey era of Star Wars will eventually come back around. I think the only reason Acolyte falls into a different category is because A, it's a television show, and B, it's set outside of the main timeline. So I think it's going to survive and thrive in media, in alternate media, in print, in comics and books, and again, give us it in animation. But and it is so great to see Hayden finally getting the accolades he deserves for playing Anakin, and it was a piece of somebody else's childhood, and it was not, again, as a Star Wars fan from 1977, when I saw the prequels, I didn't know what to think, and it took me a while to adapt to it. And now, of course, I love the prequels. I have such a new admiration for them. And it's funny. I always, when people ask what's your favorite Star Wars film, it's always Empire Strikes Back. But if I'm to just put a movie in to watch, if I go to Disney Plus and pick a movie, it's Phantom Menace more times than not, and it's because it's just such a fun movie, and it's aged. I don't know if it's aged well, but it's aged in a way that I've come to love it. So it's a very strange category.
Yeah, yeah. The prequels are often ones I'll just throw on, especially Revenge of the Sith. But I also find myself throwing on The Last Jedi a lot as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love Last Jedi. Yep.
So, no, I agree. I think the sequels will find that kind of love that it spoke about in this article after 10 years or so. I mean, we're coming up to 10 years after since the Force Awakens, right? 2015.
It's wild. Yep.
So we're coming up 10 years. So it's pretty
That's
crazy.
insane. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's always been for me like the original trilogy, right? But somehow or another, Revenge of the Sith got wedged into my favorite movies. So I mean, it's like Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith. So now it's just like this thing that I just love those movies. The prequels are just beautiful.
They're fun. They're just fun, and the thing is, the prequels set up, I think, more storytelling than the original series, right? The original series is great. The original saga, the original trilogy is, there's not much canon, or more mainstream media that came out of those, but the prequels spawned. They spawned, of course, the Clone Wars. To a degree, they spawned Rebels and Solo and Rogue One, and so all those things, and Andor, and so the prequels, there's more color commentary for the prequels, so it makes them a little bit more fun to watch.
Yeah, agreed. So earlier, actually last Friday, was when the newest Lego Star Wars movie came out, so we got a little article on that as well. So did you guys watch it? The Lego Rebuild the Galaxy?
I'm 3 episodes in, 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Finished. Yep.
Eric, have you finished it?
No, I did. I'm just trying to find that time so I can do the reaction videos.
Yeah. So I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. It's one of those fun little series. I wish they did like the full length movie instead of cutting it up into a series like they did with the previous two, like the Halloween one and the holiday special one that they did.
Yeah, they could have done it and put it in the theaters, and do a Lego movie out of it, because what is it? It's 110 minutes, so it's an hour and 40 minutes long if you take them all together. So
yeah. So it dropped on Disney Plus on September 13th, last week. So it's I enjoyed it. It had some stuff. Like I find all of these little Lego shows and movies that they've done, they kind of, it's almost like I know they're not canon, but it depends on how you perceive it. Like it could be canon. Like there could be some sort of magical crystal that they could get that messes everything up in the universe, right? So it's just these little side stories that could happen. It's almost like a multiverse or something.
Yeah, it's a what if. It's Star Wars what if.
It's a what if. Yeah, pretty much. And it's fun. So I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys get to finish it off. But I think the general consensus is that it's been relatively good reviews from it. So
after watching the first 3 episodes, I would say it is my favorite Star Wars of 2024, which is saying something, considering we had Acolyte live action, we had and we had Bad Batch, right? And I love Bad Batch. I just felt like, again, missed the landing just a little bit for me. but this Lego show is just fun. And honestly, the space battles in the Lego show are as good as or better
Yeah.
than anything we've seen in Star Wars in a couple of years. So, yeah, give me more, and I can't wait to finish it. I'll probably finish it when I get off with you guys tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping they do some more of these things because one, it doesn't cost as much for them to make these little movies series as much as it does like the live action stuff. So
Yeah,
it's cheaper to make, and yeah, it's not meant to be too serious. So
plus it sells a whole bunch
yeah,
of Lego.
yeah, right, right. Lego sales went up.
Yep.
Yeah, so really enjoyable. Hopefully, we get some more of it.
I just saw
I
the
would
Dark
imagine.
Millennium Falcon. Matter of fact, at Walmart yesterday.
Nice.
Yesterday, the day before. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. So
Yeah,
my
I
last
try not
story
to go
for the
down
evening-
that slope. So
yeah, me too. So Star Wars, Hayden Christensen wants to be Vader once again. Hayden Christensen played a key role in the franchise's recent expansion. He reprised his role as Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka, and expressed interest in exploring the character further. As Lucasfilm develops new Star Wars stories, Hayden Christensen discusses work with Ewan McGregor, known for portraying Obi-Wan in the franchise, and his renowned commitment to Darth Vader. Also shared his enthusiasm for continuing in the franchise. In a previous interview from last year with Entertainment Weekly, Dagobah Dispatch podcast, Hayden shared that his return to the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka had definitely reignited a spark in me, and he wants to do more. He expressed his interest in further exploring Darth Vader's story, saying, "I would love to get to do more, and I'd love to get to continue with Star Wars, and we would love for him to continue."
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
So I thought that was just a
absolutely.
pretty interesting read. So,
And it ties back to the
Yeah.
beginning of the show when we were talking about wanting to see him back. Would love to see it. I think my mind was totally changed when I saw him in basically Anakin animated version in live action. It changed everything for me because, Kenobi, honestly, the de-aging in Kenobi was pretty poor.
Yeah,
It looked like two old guys cosplaying, and it just didn't work. Believe me, I know what that looks like. But it just didn't work out at all. So, but in Ahsoka, man, wow, I was pulled so back into it. So yeah, let's bring him back.
yeah. I mean, a lot of Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor stuff. So I mean, I feel like it's almost leading up to some sort of announcement. Maybe they're going to bring them back or something. Hopefully we get some sort of announcement. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Just with all the interviews they've been doing and talking about it lately, like they're almost hinting at something.
Right, all these stories are connecting to that.
Right, makes you feel like they're working on something.
Yeah, exactly. So one more piece of news. So today we got some images from the Skeleton Crew via Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah.
So Star Wars Skeleton Crew exclusive. And I saw, Pete, you already posted a video on your channel there as well.
Yeah.
So creators John Watts and Christopher Ford explain why they are playing with a part of the galaxy that has a resurgence of piracy. And there's some exclusive photos. It reveals Jaleel White as a space pirate, which Urkel.
Space
For
Urkel.
those of you, Space Urkel. There we go. That's the image there. That looks great. So you got Space Urkel.
Yep.
So you got Vane, played by Marty Matulis, I guess. Gunter, played by Jaleel White. Brutus, played by Fred Tatisser. I don't know. I'm not even going to pronounce his name there.
Fred T.
You got Pax, played by performance artist Mike Estes, and Chalet, which I'm assuming is the one on the far right there.
Yeah.
Dale Souls. So I didn't even know Urkel was in this. Did either of you know that Urkel was in there?
Yeah, he actually in fact I did a pickup of it on our stuff. I think it was about almost a year ago. He was on a Calgary Flames I think it was Calgary Flames hockey broadcast, and he just mentioned, yeah, I'm working on a Skeleton Crew with Disney or something like that, and everybody's like, wait, what? But yeah, so I think that's, it's cool. I still hesitate, and it's only been a failure once or twice, but whenever I see somebody who I know from something else in Star Wars, it always feels a little bit weird until I see it, and then it's great. But that costume looks great. It looks very kind of somewhere in between Lobot and and Saw Gerrera. I think it's I like it a lot.
I was gonna say it looks very Saw Gerrera with the arm pieces and the chest plate there.
Yep, and I love the Grand that's got a patch over one of his 3 eyes.
Yeah,
I think that's so cool. I think the show's going to be nothing but fun, and I think I think it's going to be one of those shows that you're going to have to be looking for something to dislike about it. I think it's just going to be, you got to put on your 12-year-old hat when you watch it and just enjoy it from that perspective. And I think it's going to be a ton of fun that way.
Yeah. I love that they're doing this series that has the same vibes, the same feels as all the 80s movies, like the Amblin movies. So like Stand By Me, the Goonies and stuff, and they bring in this actor that we loved seeing on TV.
80s, right? From the 80s?
Yeah.
Was it 80s or 90s?
Early 90s? Yeah. And they're bringing him in as part of it. So it's great that they're doing that. Hopefully there's some other characters that they bring in, some other actors from like some of these older series that they bring in.
Yeah.
That would just make my day. Like, well, I agree. Like when they brought in Jack Black, I was kind of like,
that was a rough one.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a rough one. But Lizzo, I enjoyed her performance.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Lizzo as his wife. There,
she was over the top enough to not think of Lizzo, whereas Jack Black, here's the problem with Jack Black. Jack Black is always Jack Black, no matter what.
He's always Jack Black.
And so, but I mean, the cast looks great. The kids look like, they fall into that 80s kind of model, and yeah, it's I have high hope. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm always tempering my hopes with everything Star Wars, and it's funny. Every single Star Wars project I've been, do we need that? And then when it's done, I'm like, wow, that was great. This one, I just think it's, you got to go and just have fun with it, and I think it's not going to disappoint if you do that.
Yeah, I think that's the key there. You just got to have fun with it. I mean,
this story had
I do that. I do that with every Star Wars project. Like I try not to have too many expectations. I just go in and enjoy it, right? Have fun with it, right?
Yep.
Because that's what Star Wars is meant to be. It's just meant to be fun, enjoyable entertainment, right? It's not meant to be serious. You're not supposed to,
like Donald Glover says, right?
It's gotta be
fun.
Yeah, it's gotta be fun.
Yep.
So did this story had Jude Law's image? I thought I saw it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's another image. Cool. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
So somebody pointed out.
That's
my friend Chris Ryan's pointed out that looks like Lando's shirt he's wearing.
Oh, interesting.
It's like they went to the same smuggler's department store to buy their shirts, I guess. But yeah, it definitely looks very Lando-y. And I love the pirate Corsair type guns that they all have in all the images. It's real. I mean, it just looks like it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I wonder if that's I wonder if that's going to be a blaster or an actual like
gun. It would be cool to see. Yeah, like a bullet gun in a Star Wars would be very cool.
Yeah, I think didn't Vane have one when he was in season 3 of The Mandalorian? He was carrying one as well, wasn't he?
I think you're right. Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to it, and I love the little Max Rebo character.
Yes.
Neil. Yeah. Love that.
And I thought Vane was such a cool character in Mando season 3 also. I just thought I love the way he talked. I love the way he looked. And I love the way that Mandalorian is taking that species and just making them a main kind of character, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I agree. Really looking forward to it. It comes out December 3rd. So,
yep.
yeah. Ray said, loving it. Yeah. But I think that does it for this week's episode of Rebel Rewind. If you guys want to check out any of the articles we discussed on the show, they'll be in the description below, along with Pete's social media, his YouTube, his Instagram, so you guys can follow him on YouTube and subscribe to him.
Cool.
Pete, thanks for coming on once again. We really appreciate it. You want to just let people know where they can find you?
Sure.
Well?
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for having me. This was great. I love talking Star Wars news and love getting your perspectives. This was a ton of fun. And you can find me. Best place to find all our stuff is on our website, which is the sswnetwork.com, which links you to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@the-SSW-network, which is where you can find our live show and all our videos. And you can also find our podcast Around the Galaxy wherever you find fine or average podcasts. And you can find me on social media, on Twitter or X @ATGcast, trying to stay out of trouble, but usually unable to keep my mouth shut long enough to not piss somebody off. So if you're looking for hot takes, come my way. I'd love to talk to you. Photography, great to meet you.
You do have some hot takes. So
yeah. I'm trying to curb that and trying to be a little more reasonable, but where's the fun in that, right?
Right? Yeah. But thanks everyone in the chat for joining us.
It was a pleasure, Pete.
Yeah, Eric, great to meet you, and Chris, nice to meet you in person as well, and or in whatever this is, but not on Twitter. It's good.
Yeah. And we'll see everyone next week.